good morning, and happy Friday. Happy Friday to one and to all. Thank you for taking time out of your morning schedule for this very special broadcast with special guest Cynda Williams. Due to time constraints, questions will be reserved for the next broadcast, but you are certainly welcome to leave any comments. But remember to please respect this platform, all special guests, chat members, and those that come by to support. So again, welcome everyone, and we will be getting ready momentarily. Sim Set So, Ray, Bay Glam, Miracle Hope, Full Truth International Ministry, Amelia Dixon, how are you? Jeanette Daniels, and for everyone else that may come in, please make sure that you are subscribed. And if you would like to get a membership, those are available too, beginning at 99 cents. Again, today's special guest is Miss Cynda Williams. And shout out to Graham Fishburne TV for making that happen. So again, welcome, happy Friday, perhaps Saturday, depending upon where you are on the globe. Prayerfully, everyone is having a wonderful Friday. You should, because you're here on this side. And that is a blessing and something we all should be giving thanks for. So, give us a few moments and we will begin. Thank you, Jeanette. May your blessing be returned abundantly. Is the audio clear? Hopefully it is. And again, welcome to everyone. Thank you. Welcome, Kevin. Welcome, everyone. And welcome, special guest, Cynda Williams. Hi there.
Hi, trying to get this camera right.
Me too.
How you doing?
I am doing well.
Good.
Give you a few moments.
Everyone,
Everyone, please welcome the beautiful Miss Cynda Williams.
not working that way, so I gotta do it this way.
Oh, take your time. You're doing me a favor.
It's all good. Okay, yeah, it's gonna have to be vertical. I usually try to. I know people like
You
landscape.
need a few more moments to get perfect. I have time.
No, I'm fine. I just when I turned it to the side, for some reason it had me upside down. It didn't actually. I didn't fill the box, so I'm not sure what's going on. So we'll just leave it there if that's okay with you. Is it okay?
I can see you pretty well. Let me see if I can do anything on my end. I'm not sure. No, that's too close. Let me see if I expand it. Can you see the box better?
Well, I'm fine. I just, making sure you're good.
I am perfect.
Awesome.
All right, everyone that's coming in again, welcome, Miss Cynda Williams, actress and artist. So I can't give you the justice, so I'm going to give you the opportunity to provide your bio.
Okay. Hi, everybody. If you've not been introduced to me before, my name is Cynda Williams, aka born name Cindy Williams. I had to change. I was verifying on Facebook, and I had to match with my my ID. So I was born Cindy. Hi, Amelia. I was born Cindy, and I had to change my name. Hi, Tanya. Happy Friday. I had to change my name to Cynda or something else because there was already a Cindy Williams. She recently passed away in SAG-AFTRA. Remember from Laverne and Shirley?
Yes.
I'm showing my age, but yes. So I had to change my name, which actually I wasn't unhappy about because was never a fan of Cindy. Back in those days, I was made fun of. I was from the south side of Chicago, and I was already thank you. I was already different. At the time, it was back before interracial couples were popular and people were mixing it up. I mean, some people were like my parents, but it was an odd thing, especially in my neighborhood. And so Cindy did not bode well. I was made fun of because I didn't have one of the cool names, you know. But anyway, long story short, I became an actress, really started acting by high school. And I'm a singer also, you mentioned that. And that's how I started. I sang first. I sang, of course, in the church, sang in school. That's where I began. But though the doors from singing opened the acting doors, and I always called myself a singer that acts. But it's funny because I became the actress that sings and writes. I'm a writer and podcast, although I'm taking a break from that, and a whole bunch of things, author. So I've done quite a bit. If you go on IMDb, you could see Cynda Williams on there in all the resumes. Some of you might know me from Betta Blues. That was my very first open door many years ago. One False Move, Dorothy Dandridge. And I'm fortunate to have a little bit of a list. So if you ever want to check me out, you could go on there. That's my professional career. When it comes to who I am, I was born a little church girl, served quite extensively in the church. Believe it or not, in spite of the nudity, we love our bodies. We don't see issues with that. I was taught about those kind of things. So I ended up getting pulled into becoming a sort of character because of the way I looked, and also because of that very first movie. Not that many women were open with their bodies. Shoot, I sure wasn't. But I was an actress. And I wasn't playing me. So I've been married a few times. I have one beautiful, lovely, grown child who is also now an actress. She just graduated from American Academy of Dramatic and Music Arts in New York, Los Angeles. And I'm just doing my thing. Thank you. Thank you, Amelia.
Thank you, Amelia. Kevin, she just answered that question earlier. I'm not sure if you heard her, but Kevin wants to know why you chose Cynda of all names.
Oh, I actually didn't explain it. And it's funny because I just was communicating with someone about this the other day. I didn't have a clue. At first, I considered changing my last name to Paris because that was my grandmother's maiden name, and I completely loved and adored my grandmother and loved that name. So I considered being Cindy Paris, but then I was like, but I'm proud of Williams. I don't really love Cindy. So I started throwing different names around that were similar. My middle name is Ann. So I took the A off of my middle name and stuck it on the end, put the Y after C, and I was like, oh, Cynda. But I didn't tell anybody. I kept that to myself. I was just running through these names in my head. My sisters are Monica and Sadika. Then I have a Megan and Mackenzie. But Monica and Sadika were the ones that I was closest in age to. So I was like, Cynda. So I went through all kind of stuff. But what really nailed it for me is I went to visit a friend of mine, one of my besties at that age, back when I was in college, and her mother was calling me Cynda. She kept calling me Cynda, and I had not spoken to anyone about that. And I asked her, I asked her daughter, my friend Lisa, I said, Lisa, why is your mama calling me Cynda? And she said, she's not, it's just an accent. I was like, your mother doesn't have that kind of accent. She called me Cynda. So she said, well, go ask. So I went down there and I said, Mrs. Bazette, why are you calling me Cynda? You're calling me Cynda, right? She goes, I am. I said, why? She said, because Cindy is a cute name. You're not cute. You're beautiful. Cynda is a beautiful name. So that's where it came from.
Okay. Okay, Kevin, hopefully that answered your question. And
Thank
Andrea
you.
says, love your movies, legendary actress.
Thank you.
And Tanya Renee, beautiful name. It absolutely is.
Thank you so much.
So back to your college years. Ball University?
Ball State.
Ball State.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So was that when you decided or had the thoughts of thinking you wanted to?
Well, I always knew that I wanted to go to school. My intention was to go to Spelman. That was my dream, because I grew up the first 14 years of my life in Chicago, South Side, all Black for the most part. I mean, my mom was white, and I had a couple of teachers. Thank you, Tanya. I had a couple of teachers that were white, but I didn't really know white people that well. And I ended up moving to Indiana, where I had the opposite experience, and it was very difficult. At that time, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of mixing, and the school that I ended up going to was 98% white, and I missed Black people, and I had them at church and stuff, but there was a lot of tumultuous things that were happening with my church, with my family at the time. So I wasn't as happy in that place. So I wanted to go to Spelman. I was very religious at the time, very, I shrouded my personal space from men. I didn't start dating until I was a senior in high school. So it appealed to me to go to an all-women's school where I could be safe from dealing with that. And you're welcome, Kevin. And I was devastated to find out that my mother, who had just recently had my sister Monica, who was a baby, but she was going to be 2. So I was like, okay, I can still go to Atlanta. She's old enough, right? My brothers are still here. And then I found out, shockingly, that my mom was pregnant again, because my parents by then they were in the process of divorce. But you know how we can do sometimes. We go back and we get a piece of that old goodness, and just to try to rekindle. And the one time they were together, my sister Sadika was conceived. And I knew my mom was handy capable, I like to call it. My whole life, she needed a lot of help physically. She had polio as a child and almost took her away. So she had health issues for the entirety of my life. And my parents weren't together anymore. And my dad was in Chicago. We moved to Indiana. So I knew there was no way in the world I could leave my mother. So I stayed right there in Muncie, Indiana, and went to school at Ball State. And it turned out to be a wonderful thing. It just happened that two new people had just joined the program. A woman named, at the time, Beth May, who became Beth Turcotte, and Don LaSalle, I think. Yes, Donna LaSalle was the new dean of the theater program, and they were all about mixing it up. So thank you, AH. So I really came in at a good time because they were both very busy in the business themselves. They had done a lot of professional work. Beth had just come from Los Angeles as an agent, so she knew so much. It was way beyond book learning. It was learning about how certain aspects of the business worked. So it was a great time to prepare. And so I was fortunate to have an old school kind of teaching from the older teachers who were very book knowledgeable, but I also had direction and guidance from people that lived in that world, which was invaluable. And that's why I try my best to consult and help people that are new to the business. I don't say kids because there are a lot of people that get in the business later in life and they just don't know anything about it. So I will consult with them for a fee. I used to do everything for free until I realized I was having problems paying my bills during some slow times. So I needed to get paid a little bit. So unless they're like, friend or something like that, and most of the time I'm like, hey, you got to talk that change if you want some of this knowledge, but I do my little walking showbiz and talks where I try to spit some knowledge out to people in a minute every week. So I was blessed, and I had a great education at Ball State University. Graduated in a theater from a theater school. I thought about the music school, but my voice teacher said, hey girl, do you want to sing or do you want to teach singing? And I was like, I want to sing. She's like, then do theater and sing and act. So that's what I did.
Now, did you ever do any extra work? Because I did a long time ago. Not sure if you remember the series. It was really popular before Kevin Spacey and his incident, House of Cards.
Awesome show. Yes. No, I was very lucky. I was in the right place at the right time. As soon as I moved to New York, right out of college, I graduated in May. I moved to the East Coast by November. Okay. My best friend for many years, she had family in Connecticut. So she was like, I'll move there with you. Her father was not happy with me, blamed me because she was still a junior. And she's like, no, I got to get out of here. Yes, this is the actual Cynda Williams. What you talking about, TMK? Yay. Thank you. So we lived in Connecticut for a few months just so we could raise money and prepare to move to New York, because back then, and even more so now, it cost a lot of money to live there. And I hadn't had a whole lot of work experience outside of acting and singing and all of that. That's all I did for many years up to that point. So I worked at Burger King in Connecticut, and I worked at a department store. I can't remember the name of it, full-time. I had 2 full-time jobs. So I was working all the time to raise money so I could live in New York and also find a regular job there and start auditioning. And so I got there, and within a couple of months, I got my first off-Broadway musical. And it was called 2 by 2, a musical, little known musical about Noah's Ark. And I, right after that point, I was working at a restaurant as a hostess, and I was the bookkeeper for several restaurants. And all these people, every time they would come in, they noticed me. They were regulars, and they were like, you need to audition for Spike Lee's new movie. You would be perfect for it. You are it. Because everybody knew who I was in the restaurant business in New York. It's not the expectation that you want to be a host or a waitress for the rest of your life. They know you're probably trying to get in the business. So everybody knew who I was. Multiple people said, audition for this movie. I didn't know the first thing about movies. I was a musical theater person. And my expectation was Broadway. That's what I thought and prepared for. But too many people said something. I had seen School Days. I had seen She's Gotta Have It, which was surprising because I was movie illiterate. I didn't watch a lot of movies. But the hype was so big on Mr. Lee, I was like, let me check this dude out. And I found my way to his movies. And though I thought they could have been better, I knew he was young and new. So I was like, sure, why don't I go? I don't know anything about auditioning. I don't know anything about acting for a screen, but I'm gonna go. And long story short, I got it. 6 weeks later, I had the role of Clark. So I never had to go the extra route. Though I think that's a very honorable way to start, and you can learn so much about how to act in movies and in television by doing that. If you're smart, if you're somebody just sitting there hanging out, gossiping, getting paid, then it may not be as useful to you except for to buy groceries. But if you're an actor that wants to work and wants to get stuff done, it is a beautiful way to learn and get paid doing it. You can watch how the actors communicate. You can watch how the director gives guidance. You can watch all the technical aspects of how a movie is made. So when you do get that first job, you are way more prepared than I was. So I applaud extras. I applaud stand-ins. I applaud everybody, and I give them their props every time I'm blessed enough to work, because without them, it would not be a believable environment on a film. And I know that some of them and many of them will end up being co-stars or people I look up to on the big screen.
Absolutely. A couple of the people that I did work with, they went on to star in Empire. But me personally, for one scene that may have been 5 minutes, that was 12 hours, moving here, moving there, moving there. It took 12 hours just for maybe a 5-minute scene. And because directors, as you said, they see what others may not see, then there's a green screen. And I had no idea how much it took to put on a production. And again, this was a movie series. a television series. I said,
it's a lot of boring time. Yeah, it's as a matter of fact, I'd say every one of my siblings is talented. Every one of them can sing, can act, can write, can do multiple things creatively. But my sisters, Monica and Sadika specifically, got to spend time with me on some movie sets because I would bring them to LA every summer or most summers to just spend time with me, give my mom a break. And that's cool. They watched more Betta Blues, the Bullets. And they were like, oh no, I'm not doing this. This is boring. And so many people have no idea how boring it can be, keywords, to a film. Unless you're there to learn more than your role. If you're there to absorb it and receive the gifts of the technical knowledge that you can, it's never boring. Or do like I did most of the time. I did that side of things. I really watched the tech side. But I also used my downtime to write my own scripts and work on my own projects, learn lyrics for the music that I was singing, because I was still singing quite a bit, a lot of club work, a lot of bar work. I had bands and stuff. So I stayed creative all the time. I was built to be busy. It took a lot of time for me to learn how to be still and learn how to quiet my mind, because I was always busy. That was just the state of my life. Having, there's 7. I'm the oldest of 7 children. Although my baby sisters were born from my father's second marriage, I just didn't know how to be still, and I kept my mind active during the waking hours, and honestly couldn't sleep very much because I was always thinking. I'm not suggesting that's a good idea, but I sure did use my time.
Okay, there's a question here, and I'll add a little bit. And it is Ms. Williams. How is it working with such legendary actors? And I'll just leave it as that.
Well, to be honest with you, when I worked with these actors, they were not legends yet. They were still quite young. We were all just starting out. Denzel had done Glory right before that, which was the movie that really threw him out and made him a superstar. But he'd done some television. He'd done a couple of other movies, but he only started acting when he was in college, and he's not that much older than me. Wesley, similar story. He whatever that the New York thing, that the New York movie that he did that was such a massive hit, he shot that after Mo Better. Before that, he was a Broadway star because he's a singer, he's an actor, he can do it all.
Oh, he's a singer as well.
But he was unknown. He wasn't known. So all of those, that phenomenal cast, there were the older actors and Abby Lincoln, that's a legend. What's his name? The guy that played Denzel's father, that's a legend. Spike's father, those were legends. But everybody else, we were all new and up and coming. Did I respect them?
I love him. Rest in peace. Bill Nunn.
Yeah, Bill Nunn. All of us were babies. All of us. Giancarlo had probably been the most active. Giancarlo is another Broadway star.
Yes, I love him.
Music, and he's amazing. He had probably done the most work of us all at that point. But we were all quite young to this world. And so on one hand, I really respected them as being more veteran at the experience as me, because they had all done something before and I'd done nothing when it comes to acting on screen. But I had been acting my whole life. I had been singing my whole life. I had been performing. So I did not look at them as big wigs. I looked at them as people that were very talented. And I enjoyed learning from them. I gathered a lot. I had some personal experiences that were different with them, but the most important part of it was the open door that Spike gave me to learn with this group of people that would go off to become huge. Turturro Brothers, Samuel L. Jackson was in it. My friend Steve White, who's a comedian, great comedian, was there. Just Joie Lee, even Vanessa Williams. A lot of people don't remember that Vanessa Williams, not Vanessa L. Williams, not the light-skinned beauty, beautiful, but the other beautiful chocolate sister that was in Soul Food and all of that. She was in the movie, had a very, very small role, but a memorable one for me because she was a lovely person. And so yeah, it was a blessing working with all of those people that have become legends. Yes.
There's a comment from TMK Media.
Yes. So yes, he should. And I expect that he will keep on working till he does. Yes, Vanessa A. Williams. Okay, thank you, TMK. And by the way, she had to, or the other Vanessa had to change her name because of that Vanessa Williams. Because though the old beauty queen persona, she was big in that world, she hadn't acted yet. So she wasn't in SAG-AFTRA, so she had to add a letter to her name. Yeah, she was Keisha in New Jack City. That was the movie I was trying to think of that was so huge for Wesley. Yes.
Now, can you explain to those who may not know what is SAG and non-SAG-AFTRA?
Yes, SAG-AFTRA is the union for, it used to just be SAG, Screen Actors Guild, it's called, and then the AFTRA, which was mainly for radio and television, and SAG was movies. And now they've combined as one big union to protect working actors. In order to be in that union, you have to either be an extra and gain points and in order to become a member, or you were like I was grandfathered in. I had never done a movie, had never done Broadway, had never done anything, but they wanted me in that movie, and it was a SAG project. So they paid my fees, and I was blessed to be made a member right away. Now, that also meant, though, that I could not do non-union projects and have not done non-union projects, which at the time was okay because there weren't that many independent films. And if there were independent films, they were big enough that they made them union. But then there was a phase of time where it was hard to work for me because most of the work was independent, non-union film. And I couldn't get a job because I wasn't non-union, but I didn't want to lose my status as a union actor. So that's, when you're first starting out, that's something to consider, especially if you're building your resume. It might behoove you to slowly get that union card by doing non-union projects to build your resume, build your tape, so people can, be able to see you, because the bigger projects, which are union, tend to come far and few between. Can't hear you. I can't hear you.
After the success of this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and your name blew up, when did Dorothy Dandridge come? And how was that?
Well, I can't remember exactly when it came, but there was some time lapse. I did quite a few films before I got to Dorothy Dandridge. As a matter of fact, I did a mini series with Hallie before, where I played her older sister in a Oprah mini series called The Wedding, and that was a television project. So we knew each other from that. I've most of my work came from offers. After Mo Better's audition, after One False Move's audition, most of the stuff that I've done since then has been an offer. So they offered me The Wedding, and we had such a great time on The Wedding that when Hallie was fortunate enough to be able to do this movie, because there were so many people trying to do it, she came to me and she said, "You've played my sister before. I'm so sorry to ask you to co-star with me again. But can you play my sister in this movie? You look like me. You've got a name and blah, blah, blah." So I was like, "Cool, no problem. I appreciate the work. Thank you." And it's such an iconic story that unfortunately not that many young people know about. And yes, it was a great experience. It was a lot of stress for Hallie because her role had expanded by now. Now she's not just acting. Now she's producing. Now she's got a lot to say. She's executive producer on this. So the relationship that we had was a little different because she had more time on The Wedding to just be an actor. Dorothy Dandridge, for her, this was like a dream come true, and she wasn't gonna have any mistakes. So she was running around like a chicken with a head cut off, making sure everything was just right. But I really enjoyed the experience, especially the musical parts of them, being able to sing 3-part harmony. I love, love, love singing in groups. It's my favorite. I always wanted to sing in a group, never wanted to be lead, but that just wasn't my path. But I enjoyed it in that film.
So to be chosen, is that out of the norm where others have to audition or re-audition or submit reels, but to be actually, I don't want to say handpicked, but chosen, as you said, is that even more special?
No, it's not. I say it's not. It's special because I hate to audition. Okay, so it's special for me, but it doesn't make me any more special. What it means is I've had enough attention and visibility for the accountants that are putting the money together on this mug, and they don't want to work by using someone new. They want to use someone that's already been known, that's already been seen, that's already established an audience, so they don't have to work so hard to push the project, especially people of color at the time. They didn't give us a lot of chances to show that people are interested in our stories. So you stars. That's why so many rappers and singers became acting stars. And I have never been upset about that because I do it all myself. So instead of going out and finding newbies, which is sad because some newbies are phenomenal. They're phenomenal and never get their chance. They use people that already have numbers. They use people that already have an audience. So it's an easy sell for the investors. And that is why offers are made oftentimes.
Okay. So what would you say is your most favorite or your love? Theater or big screen or television series, all of which you've been a part of?
For me, movies. I love movies. I never would have thought that would be the passion I would obtain. I didn't think that would come because I wasn't a movie person. I didn't watch movies. I didn't even watch theater because I was always doing it myself. I was always on the stage. But once I experienced films and how they were made, it fit my personality far better than stage because I'm more of a subtle actor than I am a big actor. You know, I've learned how to act on the stage. I've learned how to be seen, and because it's all three genres are very different techniques when it comes to acting. If you're good at movies, it doesn't mean you're going to be good on the stage or vice versa. So I've managed to try to learn each genre and having a chance to do it has given me that opportunity. But I prefer movies because I like the immediacy of it. I like creating a character, doing my best at that character, and then moving on to the next. Playing the same person for years on end has never appealed to me until now. Now, I would take a Broadway, I would take a television series because I'm a different person. I don't have that need for the thrill of new characters every other month. I could enjoy the comfort of knowing I had a job and just finding the life in a character over some years. I could do that now. But my passion has always, since my 20s, known that I love movies.
Okay. So in each role that you're offered or selected for, or perhaps audition, how long does it take for you, Cynda Williams, to actually study and become that character?
Well, to be honest, I'm gonna really tell on myself here. Earlier in my life, when I was first starting out, I was much better. As soon as I got an audition, I dove in, right? I dove in into creating that character before I got the work, right? Before I got the job, I would already start knowing who I was or who especially after a conversation with the director and the writer, but as I started getting more and more auditions, more and more often, it became overwhelming and too much work. So now I wait. And as soon as I know, or I've signed on the dotted line and I've been guaranteed a job, that's when I'll dive in and start really creating this person, which doesn't always bode well for auditions. When you're that prepared, For your roles, before you audition, it makes your audition better. I've never been great at auditioning. I just haven't. I've never been a good test taker. The speed of it, the pressure of it, always was something I've had to work through, and I've gotten better as I've aged. But when I was young, I just didn't know. And this is something a lot of people don't know. When you come into a room, you don't anymore. You don't go into a room anymore. Those days are over after COVID. Now everything is a filmed audition. You got to film yourself auditioning, which is difficult because you don't have the energy of the room to work with anymore. But if I'm prepared, man, there's nothing that could throw me off. Not the you casting agent talking on the phone, and not the other person looking bored, not the person eating lunch. None of that could throw me because I knew who I was already, you know? And then also, this is a biggie. A lot of people don't understand that when you walk in a room, you need to walk in a room being that person. Don't come in being yourself if yourself is different from who that character is. And I would do that. I would come into a room being Cindy, which is shy, quiet, introverted. I don't talk to people. I don't know how. That's how I used to be. I've grown, obviously. But I didn't know how. And so I would come in shy. And then by then I've already lost the role, you know, because they don't have the vision to understand that I'm such a great actress that as soon as I start, I change it to whoever they are. So I had to learn through trial and error that you got to walk into the room with the energy of the character, whatever you think that energy is. And you might get it wrong. You might have it absolutely the opposite of what the casting and directors want. But you got to commit to what you work on. You got to commit to that person that you decided that you're going to be, and hope that it's right for the role. And if it's not, and they don't choose you, the role wasn't for you anyway.
Graham Fishburne TV.
Hey, Graham, what's
made this happen? Again, shout out to Graham Fishburne. He says, one of my favorite clips from the movie, Caught Up, starring you and Bokeem Woodbine. And then he put the link. So how was that?
That was the most fun I've ever had on a movie. That was the first time I felt like a star doing that movie, because they treated me like one. When I did Betta, when I did One Fall Smooth, when I did all my earlier films, the fame had not caught on yet. The hype had not caught on yet. So I was just this new wannabe, you know what I mean? I was just this new kid on the block, and they just treated me like that. They didn't treat me like I was anything special, and I wasn't. I was just an actress, right? But Darren Scott and his production team made me feel like a leading lady. I've never been treated so beautifully. Maybe Stephen Wolf's productions, I did several movies with Sneak Preview Entertainment, and those films, I felt a little bit of that, but I was never the star in any of those films. I was always in an ensemble. But on Caught Up, he came to me, Darren Scott. I'll never forget, I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but and now, by the way, I had some very, very difficult experiences with some directors in the past. So I was very picky about who I would work with at this point. So when I got a call from my agents or my managers, probably my manager, saying, you know, there's this guy, he's done a lot of great movies. He's a writer first. He's directing his first film, and he wants you in his movie, and he wants to meet with you. And I was like, okay. So I went, and then we had lunch, and he told me that he had written the role, and in the screenplay, he had said someone like Cynda Williams. So he wrote the role with me in mind, but never thought to ask me to do the role. So his agent said, hey, why not, instead of someone like Cynda Williams, how about Cynda Williams? So that's how that came about, and I was able to participate in casting. The Bokeem had to audition, And it was he, Isaiah Washington, and a third actor that I cannot remember who he was, who honestly I was pushing for. So you would think I'll remember his name. I loved Bokeem's work. I loved Isaiah's work, but I preferred the other guy's interpretation of the character, which was very different than what Bokeem ended up doing. But the studio wanted to go with Bokeem, which I was like, okay, cool. He was good. He was just different. And I ended up having such a beautiful time. Bokeem is a lovely person, nothing like the characters he's portrayed in the past. He's a down-to-earth, middle-class rock and roll star. You know, that's who he was. And I didn't get to meet all the other stars in that movie, except for the ones I worked with directly, but they were awesome. I got to meet Snoop, which was a whole lot of fun because I am a fan. I was a fan and I am a fan. Though we didn't work together, I really enjoyed meeting him. I didn't get to meet, what's his name? Not Ice Cube, not one of those awesome actors that's a huge star that played my husband in that movie. Somebody will tell me. I'm just blocking right now. I'm forgetting names, but he was my husband in the movie for one of the characters because I played twins. But I never met him. And I was so bummed because, again, I was a fan and I'm still a fan. So it was a great experience. Darren Scott, his wife, Tony Scott, all the production team, they were amazing.
Has there ever been any role or production that you have ever been intimidated?
Well, it depends on what you mean. Intimidated when it comes to my skills, my skill set, my abilities. Mm-hmm. Only one. And it was because, and I just talked about this on my little walk, it was because the directors did not like me at all. They did not like me. I don't know why they hired me. I think, again, it was because the studio pushed for me because of the stardom at the time. And they didn't like me, especially the primary director that I had to act with and work against. He treated me like garbage. And he really treated me like garbage while acting. I was very shy at the time. I had not found my voice yet. So I had very soft, sweet sound because I didn't know me yet. And he would constantly call me out, yell at me, question my abilities in front of everyone all the time.
So what did that do to you?
I almost quit. I almost quit the business. He was, L Cool J. Yeah, not Ice. He was just cool. Yes, he was awesome. Thank you, Graham. Yeah, it was horrible. And there were two worst parts about it. The first thing he did is there was a huge 2-page monologue that I didn't know anything about. I knew I had a monologue that I needed to learn, but they had not given me the work. They hadn't given it to me. And I kept asking, when are you going to give me the monologue so I can learn it? Can I learn the monologue? Can I learn the monologue? And one time I thought, okay, we're finally going to have this big meeting. We were sitting in a van, and instead of giving me the pages I needed to learn, they sat there and they told me how fat I was. Now, mind you, I was a size 6. They sat there and for an hour told me how fat I was and how I was going to fail in the business because I was fat. So, and then the second thing that was like, no, there were 3 things. And then the next thing they did is he gave me the monologue, the 2-page monologue, 5 minutes before I was supposed to shoot it. So there was no way that I could learn it. And then
it was basically after you.
He fed me the lines while I was doing it. So I would do it just like he wanted me to do it. And then the final big thing they did, because there were so many things, was they changed my voice. They had a voice actor do my voice, and the person did not know what she was doing did not match my intention, did not match my tone at all. And people like this movie. I won't give the title of it. People like this movie, but there's a movie out there where it ain't me. It's not me. It's my face. It's my body, but it's not my voice. It's not my performance. It's not my. So that intimidated me because they mess with my self-esteem about my art. You can mess with me about my person. You can mess with me about my personality. You can mess with me about my sexuality. You know, am I going to have sex with you? You can do all that. But they messed with me as an artist. And that almost pushed me to quitting. I don't know. I think my husband at the time was my second husband, Arthur Fuller. He was my best friend. I think his encouragement and his love and all of that for me is what encouraged me to not quit, not give up. I think of that song, He'll Do It Again, you know, that gospel song, Why Would You Worry, you know, and I thought about all the trauma, all the personal hardships that I had survived. And I was like, God will get me through this. God will get me through this. So Cara, I hope I said your name wrong. Right. I hope you enjoy the movie. So yeah, been through it. And that's why I do my little showbiz sin snippets to give people little snippets of these stories so that they don't quit.
Sorry about that. I don't know why people are deciding to call once I'm live. So that is a horrible story, but at the same time, it shows your strength and tenacity. But was it faith perhaps, or what gave you that spark or that flame to say, you know what, I've done all of this. This is my dream. I see what you're doing, and I'm not going to allow it to happen to me.
That was a turning point for me because, as I said, I had a lot of trauma up to then. But the one thing I could count on was my skills. The one thing I could count on was my talent. And for the first time, and not the last time, I was made to feel like I didn't have any. And so it tested my strength. It tested my faith. It tested me as a human being, not just an actress. Are you going to let the enemy, because that's what they were to me. I'm not saying they were a devil or a demon, but they were certainly being used to strike down this power that's in me and within us all. And thank the Lord, my ancestors, my guides, my angels, and my God got me through that. And because in my opinion, my job, it's never been just to act. Never been just to sing, perform, write, none of those things. It's been to hopefully and eventually serve by encouraging others and helping others. And if I had left my position, it would have been too soon. And it would not have led me to now. I don't do nearly as much acting, but I do things where I think and I hope that I'm serving others. And I wouldn't have been able to do that. And the enemy knows the past, present, and future, and knew what I had coming, and tried to stop me. And I was like, "You can try, baby, but you can't win this fight." So here we are.
That is a testament. So, what do you believe, after all of that, was the driving force behind this attempt to stop you?
Like I said, people are used for things all the time. You know what I mean? They don't realize if they have any weakness within, and these people had that, lies in the closet, you know, about who they are. And there was a whole lot of other things happening too that I won't talk about.
Right.
Personal, jabs, and there were other things. I don't necessarily believe they were consciously doing this. I
Right.
mean, being mean to me was a very conscious behavior, but why? I don't know if they knew. I don't know if they were maliciously trying to destroy me. I don't believe that. But I believe that the weakness in them illuminated the negativity without, they allowed that to take over. And I mean, this person, I wasn't the only person they mistreated. They mistreated all the women, including their wife. They mistreated everyone. It was just I was a focus because I was the lead, female lead. And so, it was I was an easy person to pick on.
So it was a culture basically
Yeah.
at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And do you believe that it's pretty much subsided, or will some still try?
Oh,
Some
yeah.
people.
That, there are damaged people, especially in entertainment. It's a lot of damaged people. A lot of people are really good at what they do because they're damaged, because they're dark. They've had hard lives. And people are like, well, why did they commit suicide? Or why are they a drug addict? Or why are they this and that? Just because they're good at something doesn't mean that they're happy. It doesn't mean that they found joy or have a strong foundation. It just means that they've taken their hardships and made them into a gift. But they still have their issues. They still have these problems that don't go away. And unless they are fortunate enough to get some help or help themselves, these parts of them get illuminated and they come out. So
Can you speak on that a little bit more? Present time of people in the industry that, even though they have all of this, they're still unhappy or missing something.
Because life is a journey of education. We're being educated on this life. We are constantly being educated. When you ask for something, when you pray, say you're a spiritual person or you're a religious person and you pray for strength. I pray for strength. Strength just doesn't occur. You have to experience life in order to grow strength, which means you're going to have to be strong. And everybody, if they're rich, poor, indifferent, doesn't matter where they live, it doesn't matter. They still got to face themselves and who they are on the inside, because that's the true house. Your body, it doesn't matter the physical manifestation of a home, what it looks like, the people you're around, the cars you drive. What matters is the home, this vessel, and what's happening on the inside, and the spirit that surrounds it. And people are seeking, and so they will do things to make themselves feel better. People do things to make themselves feel better, no matter if it might harm someone else. So I understand the reason why, but that's why it takes strong people, resilient people, and people full of light to try to keep themselves in a higher vibration, try to keep themselves in a place where no matter what is happening out there, it just bounces right off. And nobody's perfect, so it doesn't always bounce right off.
Right.
But I'm not going to, for a while there, before therapy and a whole bunch of really crazy things, I would lay there. I would lay there for a couple of months at a time and be depressed, because of this or that. But because of those things, I had to learn how to love myself and protect myself and know who I am. So every hardship, every hard thing that happens is just a lesson in teaching you how to evolve.
Absolutely. Empress says, just like Robin Williams, I would never in a million years thought that he would have taken his own life.
I met him. I was blessed.
Oh, wow.
I was blessed enough to do a reading with him. He was originally supposed to be Jerry Maguire. in that movie.
Really?
Yes. It was a completely different film, similar script, different actors. I was one of them. And Robin Williams was supposed to play Jerry Maguire. And I sat right next to him, and he was quiet. He was shy. He was not a laugh in your face all the time guy. That was a show. That was a show. He was so kind.
Was it really Mork?
No.
Wow.
That was a performance. That was a part and aspect of him. But the aspect of him that was more real was actually kind of similar to me. Quiet, shy, introverted, really not knowing who he was. And I still don't know that the suicide was pure, because he was taking medication where they said it can cause depression to the point of suicide. So I don't know. Nobody knows but him and his family and God. But I believe I more than believe. I know that there is more to life. This is just one little piece of life because we're eternal. And I'm not a believer of the you're going to hell because you committed suicide kind of thing. I believe that you just got to reset and try again. So he's okay. And everyone that makes that decision, and it is a decision, you're not forced to do it, they're okay. But we're not okay. We'll miss them. And we don't understand, and we're angry with them, but
yes,
they're okay.
Absolutely. So, what is your writing and productions as of now?
So,
coming up?
Well, for one thing, I did have a couple of books. One is called Pink Panty Confessions. If you want to know a little bit more, it's a memoir, insights, and poetry. That Pink Panty Confessions, wherever books are sold online. Then I wrote a book, or I was a contributor on a book called Faith, Failure, Success, Surviving the Storm, where I share a very horrible experience that I lived through and learned from. I also write screenplays, quite a few. I'm working on getting them produced. Right now what I'm working on, it's called A House Is Not a Home. And that is focusing on my family. It's honoring my parents. And I'm working on that. I'm gonna be doing a fundraiser, so I hope y'all can help out. And I'm continuing to write for other people, because House Is Not a Home, I'm not in that. Most of the things I write, I'm not in. I want to give other people an opportunity, because people deserve it. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay. Before I get to this question from Cynda, so you just mentioned a fundraiser. Do you have a link or information that you could provide for me where I could send out for those who would like to donate to your fundraiser?
Not yet. Working on a budget right now, so I know how much to raise.
Okay.
So, and on this project, I am doing most of the work. I am producing it. I am raising money for it. I am doing everything. I am line producing. I'm doing everything, and I don't know how to do half this stuff. So it's taking some time, but I will certainly let you know as soon as we start that fundraiser. And I really appreciate if you put that out there.
Absolutely. So back to the question for Ms. Williams. What style of therapy do you believe is best for actors and artists? What kind does Hollywood embrace? Any thoughts on art therapy? Thank you, Sim Setso.
So, hey, Sim, I think that just like anybody, actors are different people and need different things. There's different kinds of actors that need different kinds of things. I myself did a lot of studying and reading. The book that prepared me most for therapy was The Road Less Traveled. Um, there are so many options. Just like we all learn differently, we all communicate differently, we also receive information differently. So there's no one specific type of therapy for everybody or every artist or whatever. Research and experimentation is how you find out what works best for you. And as for art therapy, not all actors are visual artists, so it's not necessarily the best thing. But I think that, like for me, though that is not the kind of therapy I received, it would be a beautiful thing, because I am an artist and I do like to create. And I had a friend that is amazing art therapist who saw a lot of shifts and changes in people that weren't quote unquote visual artists, but they were able to come to terms and heal using that therapeutic approach. So I personally am a hypnotherapist. I ended up going back to school because everybody would call me the set shrink. Every movie I did, somebody was coming to me for something. And I had a lot of gut instincts about how to help people, a gift instilled, but no skills. So I ended up going back to school and becoming a hypnotherapist. And that is geared more towards not necessarily mental disorders, but, do you stutter? Do you have stage fright? Do you smoke and want to quit? Things like that. But those things usually are tied back to some kind of trauma, some kind of experience that you had to find a coping mechanism, and that's how you did it. So I just say research and try things, if you're an artist or not, to find a best fit for you. But therapy can be a beautiful thing, but it starts with you. It starts with you. For me, if I had not researched and prepared, I don't know if I would have been ready. And these days they have phenomenal things for free on YouTube that are very amazing. There are books online, there's books, audibles, there's all kind of resources out there to help you get through. And don't be afraid to talk to somebody, even if it's to God out loud. That's a release that we all need. I have a friend right now who I'm working with who is very suicidal because they have a terminal illness. And they lived a very happy, fulfilled life, and then all of a sudden everything instantly seemed to get taken away. And they're very angry, and their caregiver suggested to me that I try to get them to do a gratefulness log. And what I did instead was I said to this person, I said, look, so-and-so wants me to get you to talk about what you're grateful for. And I think that's a great idea. But before you do, I think you need to just tell me exactly how you feel and be as ugly as you want to be. Tell me about your anger. Embrace your anger. Embrace your fear. Embrace your sadness. Get it out. Because if you don't get it out, it will eat you up alive. Talk to somebody, and don't be ashamed to feel the way you feel. Don't hold on to it. Don't dwell on it, but get it out. And then find yourself to some gratefulness, because you've had an amazing freaking life. You've lived some people's lives 20 times.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But you can't, some people feel shame and guilt if they're rich and feel bad. Money don't bring happiness, baby. It just doesn't. Fame does not bring happiness. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite. Alcohol, substances don't change a dang on thing. Partying, too many friends that don't mean you well. None of that stuff.
Can you please speak on that as well? We've all heard the old adage, be mindful of your circle.
Yes.
It will hurt you.
Yes, you have to be conscious of it. And it's a choice. You know what I mean? I personally I have grown to love social gatherings and being around people and loving on folks and talking with them and all of that. But I'm also extremely comfortable by myself. I don't need people to validate me. I don't need people to take me out and do this with me and do that with me. Yeah, journaling, whoever said that, yes, that's another way to get it out. But if you're around people that their truth doesn't ring true for you, and you're not growing with them, and they're in your life far too much, they could sway you and influence your energy and influence your vibration and who you are. And you don't want to empower someone else to overpower you. It's important to love you, know you, understand you. And it might just be your lesson to end up doing these things or hanging out with these people. I'm not judging that. That's a choice for growth. It's just a difficult one. So I think it's a good idea to really be conscious of who's in your inner circles. And I say circles because there are different levels of circles. You know, my innermost circle, less than one hand of people in that one. You know what I mean? Less than one. My inner Ernal is just me. Inner circle is just me and God, you know. But that one right out is very small. So.
And would you say that's something that everyone should be cognizant of? Because some people, this is just my opinion, feel as though hundreds or thousands validate them.
Yeah, you know, and there will never be enough people to validate you if you don't validate yourself. You will never have enough salutations. You will never have enough love. You will never have enough attention because you're looking for love in all the wrong places. You have to go within. You have to connect to your source, whatever that may be, whatever your beliefs are. You have to have a foundation and you have to be comfortable with you. And when that happens, that's when you'll start attracting like-minded people that will help uplift you as opposed to pull you down into the dregs, into darkness.
So, when did you learn or know that you truly loved yourself despite of all of the hiccups, perhaps younger, and when you entered the industry?
Oh man, it's been a gradual, slow process. I mean, there were a good half of my life I couldn't look in the mirror without treating myself like scum. There's nobody in the world and all the horrible things except for maybe two people. There's two people in my life that maybe treated me worse than I treated myself. And it took a long time and awareness. I didn't know my self-talk was so bad until I started listening to myself. A lot of us unconsciously have loops of voices in our heads from our past that are very negative, right? And we don't know that we talk to ourselves that way until we listen to ourselves. And once I recognized that I was mean to myself, I had to start saying, I use this old concept, cancel. When I would have I would not have mirrors. I hated mirrors. I didn't want to look at myself. And I started forcing myself to look at myself every single day and find something that I liked. Anything at all. Find something that you like, right? And it might not be something you like to see. It might be something about yourself. But the key is saying it out loud, looking in that mirror right in your eyes. For me, one of the things that I liked about myself on the physical level was my neck. I have a long neck. I have a long torso, right? So I said, you have a beautiful neck, Cindy. You have beautiful neck. I like the shape of your ears. Your earlobes are perfect. Silly stuff, but not really. Because then I wasn't saying, I hate myself. Then I wasn't saying, you fat heifer. Then I wasn't saying, your nose is too big. Then I wasn't saying those things. Now I was saying, you're beautiful. Your neck, it looks like, it's a long neck. It's so feminine and it's pretty and necklaces look great on it. And it felt silly at first. But the more I did it, the more I started getting into it. I was like, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Damn D, POV. Welcome and thank you so much. May your blessing be returned abundantly.
Thank you.
Say hello, Damn D.
Hi.
Awesome content creator. He will have you in stitches. I'm sure, myself included, have said over and over, God, you're so beautiful. And I know you've heard it as a little child. You would still have those feelings?
As a little child, I did not hear it. As a little child, remember, I was a mulatto girl in a either black or white world. And that was not the case. That was not the case. People did not tell me I was beautiful. As a matter of fact, it's a joke. It's not a joke. It really happened. Used to talk about this all the time. When I was in elementary school, I went to this school, Bennett Elementary in Chicago. And the boys were doing this rating system. They would rate the girls. And then they would choose which part of the girl would make the perfect girl. And, one girl, Tracy, had the prettiest face. Yolanda had the best boobs. So-and-so had the best butt. Blah, blah, blah. I was always best personality. Never did they mention anything on me physically. Because I was different. I wasn't like everybody else. And I did have some trauma with some family that would say I was ugly, especially when I was very young. They would say, you were the ugliest baby I've ever seen. You were the ugliest baby I've ever seen. Because I was bald headed and so freaking pale and reddish blobs everywhere. And I just wasn't a cute baby to them. I've seen pictures, and I lost all of that, unfortunately. But I've seen pictures out there. I was pretty freaking cute now. But that stuck with me. That was at a very young age, I'm being told I was ugly. I was born ugly. This person would say that to me all the time. You were the ugliest child. You were the ugliest baby I've ever seen. And so the first 5 years of your life is when you create the most who you are. And so I believed this person. I believed them. And it didn't matter what anybody else said. I didn't believe them. I was just like, they're being nice. I believed those authority figures in my life that would say that to me, the people that I looked up to and believed the most about, and they were my authority. And they said I was ugly, so I have to be, And it took me loving myself and giving myself therapy and getting therapy to be able to see myself as I truly am. And I still don't. I'm still working on it. I still have my moments of, ugh, you're so gross. You know what I mean? Especially now that I'm in past menopause, got the cellulite, got the wrinkles coming in, got all that mess, got the flubber on the stomach that, even the thinnest women have issues with it, with menopause. Yeah, I have to remember, honey bun, you are blessed. You have lived this long and take those wrinkles and take that cellulite with pride. You know what I'm saying? Because that means you've lived. That means you're still here. And this is phases that many of us go through. Some people never get that stuff. Now, shoot, some of my family have no. My mama, when she passed away, and my daddy, neither one of them had wrinkles. My mother only grayed the last 2 years of her life. I am white. I had been white for 20 some years. I started getting white hair by the time I was a little kid. So yeah, it didn't matter what other people said. I had to find it. And now when you say that, I say thank you. Instead of in my mind saying liar. But it took work. This shit ain't easy. Excuse my language. Sorry.
No,
it's not easy. It's not easy. You know?
No. And I think that being transparent and telling your story has helped many people. Now, do you think this is prevalent in a mulatto family? Or it could happen with all? Because my cousins, 2 of them have the light colored eyes and the other 2 do not. All of them that complexion. But growing up, I remember my auntie praising them more than the brown skin or brown eyed cousins. And one of my cousins now, still, she's an older cousin, 73, still has problems and will bring it up. All graduates of Howard all did very well, but this particular one, it still hurts her today.
Yeah, it goes back to, again, having to be validated from other people. It goes back to that, you know, and, you know, very consciously, there were people in charge that divided us by using skin tone, eye color, hair texture, body shape. They pit us against each other for a very conscious reason, because they wanted to keep us divided so they can maintain power. And we are still fighting those familial curses. If I thought I was more beautiful because of my skin tone than my chocolate sister, that's a freaking false narrative. It's not true. It's not true. It is just a false narrative to keep us separate. And as many light-skinned, light-eyed folks that got issues with chocolate people, there's the same amount of chocolate people having issues with us. And I experienced that far too often. Hated me because of the way I looked. Hated me. And I got stuck in a genre of film because of the way I look. I couldn't play the teacher, couldn't play the mother, I couldn't play the good one. I always was playing the hoe. I was always the sexy one, because this equals sexy. Oh, it doesn't. I'm smart. I'm brilliant. Okay? I know what I'm talking about. I am a teacher. I am a mother. But because of this old, dead way of doing and thinking things, we're still fighting through it, and we're changing. Sim wants to know about my spiritual background. And I grew up a Christian. I grew up in the church. My grandfather was a pastor, my uncle's pastors, very religious growing up. Though there were some things that hurt me, some belief systems, false narratives that I had to let go of. And as I grew older and started researching other religions, and all of that, I realized that while I am a believer and while I love Jesus, Jesus is real for me, so is Buddha, and so is a lot of other spiritual people that didn't have dogma. Jesus did not have dogma. Jesus just loved people. He didn't walk around talking about, he knew the Torah, he knew it backwards and forwards, and he was able to take those spiritual teachings and help everybody, not just Jewish people. So I call myself spiritual. I call myself a believer. I know Jesus lives, but I don't condemn anyone else that believes something different, because we all have our own walk and our own journey to get to where we need to be. And yes, it has gotten me through. Yes, I meditate, I pray every day. That has changed my life. I read, I study, I listen to spiritual leaders. I believe that we have as many or even more visible spiritual leaders than we've ever had. And they are inspired and led by God. So yes, that feeds me, and I live that life. And somebody said something I want to comment on. They said something about whites like light-skinned people better. There are definitely some white people that feel more comfortable with people that look like me, because I look more like them. And we are skewed towards what is like us. We're skewed that way. But I can guarantee you this, hon. If I come walking in a house, I'm going to be treated just like you. If I try to marry their son, I'm going to be treated just like you. So yeah, you are right. They might feel more comfortable with someone like me, but I will always be a nigga in their eyes. Always. And they're right. I am a Black, proud woman with European descent. I got Irish in me. I got Nigerian in me. Those are my two main things. I'm a Black woman, and I'm proud of it.
And do you go onto the set with that persona and aura of what you just said?
Always, yeah. I having done Spike's movie first, which he was known as a Black director. They used Black actors, although he had a variety.
Yes.
It was a quote unquote Black movie that set up who I was. In a way, that kind of bummed me out, because I could have played anything. I mean, Spanish people think I'm Spanish, Egyptian people think I'm Egyptian, Turkish people think I'm Turkish. All these kind of people think I'm all these kind of things. And there are certain actors that don't claim their ethnicity because they know it will limit their work, you know? Wow. So yeah, you know, I kind of wish that I could have played other kind of roles that would have opened more doors for me. But when it comes to my personal being and who I am, I'm a proud Black woman. And that's who I am. I mean, that's how I was raised. I know there are some mulattoes that feel the other. They gotta tell you, they gotta tell you, oh, I'm this and I'm that and I'm this and I'm that and I'm this and I'm blah 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 blah, and that's cool because that works for them. But for me, I'm Black. That's what I check. You know, I'm Black. My daughter's the same way, and my daughter looks. People don't know what the heck she is because she does have blue or green eyes, and her hair, her natural hair tone is a light brown, more towards blonde. She got back from the generations. Everybody assumes her dad is white, but her dad is Black, and he's got brothers as dark as the box on the screen. He got every shade in his family. He just happened to have green eyes. And my grandfather had blue eyes, so Sophia has green eyes. But if you try to tell her she ain't Black, I've had to talk to her and say, honey bun, it doesn't matter what they think. You just be you. If they want to think you're Spanish, fine. If they want to think whatever, it doesn't matter. You know who you are. That's all that matters. You know who you are. Another girl that looks just like you might call herself Irish or whatever. That's who she is. You know, but what I am when it comes to nationality, I'm American. I'm American. I was born in this place. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I am. And separating it They never did that until they started separating us. That's when they started making it black, white, yellow, red, etc., green, whatever. You know, it's about division.
Takara says definitely. Could have been several roles.
Yeah, I could have been. And I grew up in the Midwest, which at the time, all those years ago, having multiple languages in your repertoire was not, nobody gave a crap about that. Nobody did. I wish I had continued with Spanish because I do have Spanish in me. That's a part of my background also. My grandmother was Gula, is that what they call them? South Carolina
Kiki
mixture.
Gula?
Yeah, second one. That was her background. They had that funny language they spoke. A mixture of Spanish and African and English all mixed together. So yes, I have Spanish in me. And if I had any kind of sense or any kind of guidance, I would have continued with my Spanish and did a bunch of Spanish films. My brother, as a matter of fact, as an adult, he's a lawyer. He does wonderful work in that field, but he acts in movies in a lot of Hispanic films because he looks Hispanic and he speaks it fluently. And I'm trying to become fluent. I could speak it pretty freaking well, and I can read it very well. But I'm still working on that. But I don't know if they'll ever put me there simply because we got so many awesome Spanish actresses that's who they are and they deserve the work. So I'm not trying to take work from anybody.
Thank you, Armando Black, for your blessing. May it be returned abundantly. And I would like to say, I'm not putting him on the spot, but he did give you a compliment on that beautiful red dress.
That's the only thing I still have. I still have the red dress and I have the earrings. I don't have anything else, but I still have that. Yeah, Gula Geechee. Yep. I still have my red dress. My daughter was a senior in high school. I made her put it on. I took a picture of her in it because she's the size I was, except for her upper body. She's more of a plumber that way. She don't got the big old boobies, but she looked beautiful in that red dress. But I keep it as a memento of my beginnings in that world.
Okay. So what advice would you give anyone coming up? Because we know, or we've seen what you just experienced. Should I call it colorism?
Yeah, that's the word, colorism. I think, again, it goes back to knowing who you are and loving yourself. It comes back to that. And loving yourself means that you love others exactly as they are. I'm not going to be afraid of you because of your skin tone, because the stereotypes say what they say. Or I'm not going to be terrified of you because you look like somebody that lived in the poor part of town and your skin is white. I'm not going to assume the worst of you because I know people have done that to me and I know who I am. So I can't guess who you are. So if you can find it in yourself to love who you are, you will automatically start loving other people. With all their problems, with all their flaws. You might not like them, you might not want to be around them, but you're going to love them. And if one of your sisters or brothers or cousins have issues because of color, you're going to forgive them because you know that means they got work to do on the inside. They don't know who they are yet. So you got to come to the point of forgiveness and letting them be. You can't change them. They can only change them. Can't change anybody. Can't change your kids. Can't change your parents. Can't change your friends. You definitely can't change your partner. You can only change you. And then when you're so comfortable with you, it won't matter what other people's journey is about. You'll love them anyway.
Takara Tomorrow, thank you for your blessing. May it be returned abundantly. Thank you so much. Make sure I get all of the comments. Next one is, when you know who you are, it's easier to accept others. And I would like to add to that, when you know whose you are. And those are for those who are believers. That's just my opinion. But thank you for that. And I think I've recognized all of these for now. So, what is, and this is my last question, a day in the life of Miss Cynda Williams?
Well, because of my childhood and my beginnings, when it comes to staying busy, I have a schedule for myself. These days, I'm actually working some day jobs. I'm not going to announce what those things are.
Absolutely.
Only because protecting the people I work for. But I will say that it's service. I serve those less than. But first thing I do, I get up. I mean, no, I don't get up. I wake up and I set intentions for my day. I tell myself what I want to see today, what I want to do today. If it's God's will, this is my intentions for the day. And that's including how I feel, how I'm going to feel, how I'm going to go with the flow, how I'm going to accept what comes my way with love and understanding. I do that. And then I read my devotions. I have multiple sources for that, including the Bible. And then I meditate for at least 10 minutes at that point, usually a guided meditation at that point. And then I get up and I work out. I do yoga. Every 3 days a week, I do strength training. And on other days, I try to do some kind of cardio at least 5 times a week. I do yoga daily. So after that, that's when I shower, and I intermittent fast, so I don't eat until afternoon. So I don't eat until afternoon. So but I might treat myself with some decaf coffee, get my shower, and I go and I do my thing, and then I come home and I hang out with my man, and we might watch TV or we might work on a project we're working on. I write. Weekends are big for me when it comes to my writing and my creation work. So that's where I am today. That's Cindy's day today.
Sounds so peaceful. Almost like you're at the final tip of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization.
Yeah. That can happen if you let it.
Yes.
That can happen when you're 15 if you let it.
Wow.
It's when you're ready. It's when you're ready to let it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sunset So says, unfortunately, the U.S. system is dead set against unity. It is very economy is based on racism within and invasion of brown and black.
Absolutely. But
Sunset.
I have a big but.
Oh.
If you start with you and yours and your local community, that's where the changes happen. It doesn't matter what they're set against. If you believe in that source you say you believe in, right? If you believe, I don't know. I'm not talking to you person, I'm talking generally now.
Yes.
If you believe, you know that source is bigger than any kind of crap that they pull. And the only reason why we can see that right now, it's so evident and in our faces, is because we're shifting and changing and evolving, and it's fighting for its life. That system is fighting for its life, so it cannot hide anymore. Things are changing. Things are changing. And then we'll have a whole new set of issues we got to deal with because life is eternal.
It is. It is. Well, Ms. Cynda Williams, thank you so much for blessing me, Graham Fishburne TV. Thank you so much for allowing this to happen. And thank you for blessing everyone that has attended and those that will catch the replay. You are beautiful outside and inside. I can actually feel it through or virtually.
Well, thank you. And same goes to you. I really appreciate this opportunity. And again, thank you to Graham for setting it up. Beautiful person there. And to all your audience, God bless you. That's coming from my belief system. God bless you. Keep doing you. Don't accept this fear-based world, and be in the world, but not of it. And you will not feel that fear or pressure. You will grow and evolve, and you will see the reality of love in this world.
Amen. Thank you so much. And you enjoy the remainder of your Friday. Once you get your fundraiser information, please make sure you send it, because I would love to send it out for people to support your projects.
Make sure you guys check out my Showbiz Sin and Meditations with Sin 1 minute things that I put out on Facebook and Instagram, and TikTok is where they originate, at least while we still got a TikTok. And check those out, share, follow. And I also always promote whatever I'm doing. So if I got a show, if I do some singing or do any more movies, whatever, you guys will know about it. Thank you so much for your support and encouragement and love. And I love you all.
Thank you. Blessings to you. Bye for now. Everyone, that was the beautiful Cynda Williams. Thank you all who donated. May your blessings be returned abundantly. And thank you to all of my members. Memberships begin at 99 cents. I had to put that in, because whatever comes to this channel goes back out in many ways. And thank you to my wonderful mods that protected the integrity of this platform, and our very special guest, and the subscribers, and you too, watching from the bushes. Without you, none of this would be possible either. So everyone, enjoy your day. Be safe, be well, be healthier, and stay tuned, because we'll be having more. Again, Graham Fishburne TV, thank you so much. And that shows when you establish a rapport with individuals and your behavior and words align. You never know what doors can open. When one says no, another may say yes. So Graham, again, blessings to you. Blessings to all of you. Until next time, bye-bye for now. Thank you all.